All right, family. We live with the general. You already know what time it is, man. We're gonna have some five for you tonight. General Seti destroys Freemasonry. We're gonna talk about this. You know, a lot of people is upset that Dr. Yosef ben Yakanan brought the knowledge of the brotherhood of the Nile Valley, ancient Egypt, Nubia, Ethiopia. People that thought Dr. Ben, man, when Dr. Ben was giving lectures and he said that he had been initiated into the craft of Africa and Ethiopia, a lot of people didn't believe that until I showed up with Dr. Ben's Masonic card, clearly showing, yo, he was from the Ethiopian Lodge. That's right, that he was from the Ethiopian Lodge. And so, number one, let's get started, family, and you know we'll touch on some things as we move through. First and foremost, let's deal with this. Now, when you're dealing with the Freemason Lodge, the European, you see, and all that free is in reference to the Hebrews who supposedly built pyramids and temples in Egypt. Never been verified, never will be verified, because we already know who the Masons and who the architects of those pyramids. As a matter of fact, the Bible clear never said that they built pyramids. Said that they built some temples in the cities of Pyramesses and Pithom, okay, which is not in the area of the pyramid. So you need to quit lying about that. They ain't built no damn pyramid, because if they did, they would build some in Israel, which they clearly did not do. Okay, which they clearly did not do. Now, so when we dealing with the white man lodge, and if you associated with it, you know, I know you're gonna be hurt, but you understand what I'm saying. But that sometimes they say truth hurts, but it also heals. It also heals. So when you're dealing with the dates of the European Freemason Lodge, let's deal with the fact that the formation of the first Grand Lodge of Freemasonry, Western Freemasonry, was on June 24th, 1717. You in trouble already there. You're already in trouble, because that just ain't gonna fly. Who that gonna fly with? You see what I'm saying? You got to be in a state of confusion. I don't care whether you're dealing with speculative, operative masonry, and I did enough research. Don't need to, because all I need to know is the truth. Once you know the truth, all that shit just melt to the side. You see, and so in 1770 is the Western Lodge, and which was in Great Britain. Okay, which was in Great Britain. Now they got some, you know, that they got some lodge in Scotland that very well could have been in the 1500s, but it wasn't a Grand Lodge. Don't make no difference even if you go to 1500. Still ain't gonna make no damn difference. You see, so if this is the one that you affiliated with, and most likely it is, it's the one you affiliated with. Now, when we dealing with the African masonry, not free, because you had to pay in over 41 years of your service to the brotherhood. You had to pay in over 41 years. That's how long it took for a brother to become a priest in the Egyptian Cushite lodge, fraternal lodge of the Nile Valley. You had to put in 41, and you could imagine with all the grandeur that's in Africa, in the Nile Valley specifically, that you would expect that all of these, you know, these Masons was like on a Christ-like level. See, this is the what's critical about Cush and Egypt. At no other time can you find so many people on a Christ-like level. You see, where they are manifesting, you know, grandeur all over the place. That's blowing minds even to this day, from the time that it was first seen into this day. Now, since the first Grand Lodge, we have, you know, Freemasonry, Western Freemasonry, the Grand Lodge established in Britain, June 24th, 1717. Let's deal with this because we have Imhotep, who is the first Grand Master architect, engineer, builder in the Nile Valley in Egypt around 2700 BCE. 2700 BCE, which means, now let's establish something now so you'll know what he's attached to. He's attached to the pyramid of Saqqara. I've been there 3 times. Okay, and this is the oldest Grand Lodge in ancient Egypt. This is the first Grand Lodge in ancient Egypt, Saqqara. And you see that the Grand Master is Zosia, the Pharaoh Zosia. And the master architect is Imhotep. And if you go to the I believe it's the Scottish Rite Temple in Los Angeles, when you go there, it has all the great architects and the grand masters on the side of that Scottish Rite Temple in Los Angeles. All you had to do is look it up. Just say Scottish Rite Temple, Los Angeles, and then you could put in Imhotep and Zosia. Put all that in, or just say it into your AI, whatever you need to, and it'll bring that picture up. And you will see that Zosia and Imhotep is actually before Solomon and Hiram Abiff. Now, I don't even believe Hiram is even in the Bible. Is he in the Bible? I don't even think his name is even in the Bible. I had to look that up. But I don't even think Hiram Abiff is even in the Bible. He's fictional. Okay, he's fictional, and there's a lot of Osiris spiritual story in that concept of Hiram Abiff. But anyway, so you got Imhotep, the first Grand Master architect and builder, and he was also the god of physicians and medicine, which came almost 2,000 years after he lived. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about over 2,000 years after he lived, but we're going to stick to the architecture that he built the step pyramid of Saqqara around 2700 BC, which would mean that there was a Grand Lodge in Africa, in Egypt, almost 4,417 years before the Grand Lodge, the Western Grand Lodge in Britain, in London. Now, I believe that's actually in the city of London. Now, you have London and you have the city of London. Now, the city of London is inside. It's only a mile long. I think it's only a mile long. A mile long. I don't know how, but in circumference, I think it's a mile. I think in total circumference, it's a mile. And that was actually where the Romans established their colony when they first got to that area and colonized that area. So that mile circumference, that area inside, that's where they got all the banking and everything inside of there. The Rothschilds and all of that. But before even them, the Knights Templars was over there. And you also, within the city of London, not London, the city of London, is just like the Vatican City. It has its own autonomy. You see, within London, just like the Vatican has its own autonomy within Italy, and DC has its own autonomy inside of the United States. Okay, so, but being clear, and that what's critical, what we have to understand, that Imhotep was the high priest of the Netta Ptah, and Imhotep was called the son of Ptah. Why is that important? Because Ptah was the netter and god of craftsmen, ironsmiths and masons. And he was also depicted as a twa, a dwarf, okay, showing that knowledge came from the interior of Africa, because that's where you find the twa and the dwarf. So Bes and Ptah were depicted as twa, little dwarfs, okay, the magical dwarfs, and we're gonna talk about that in another video. And so understanding that now, also within that Grand Lodge of Saqqara, where you find the oldest stone building on the planet, the Step Pyramid of Saqqara, the first stone structure above ground, not below, because when you go to some of them graves of the earlier pharaohs, they had stone down in the burial part of the tomb, not above. So they still had some stone down there. But the Step Pyramid of Saqqara is the oldest stone structure above ground. Okay, so that's the foundation of masonry. When you talk about masonry, you're talking about stone. Only in Africa, only in Egypt, where you can find evidence of the ancient, the square, to square the stone, the level, to make sure that is level, that is even across, the scale, the gavel, in which you see with the, which is also a part of the judge, and I believe he got 3 steps to go up to his, to when you go to court, and the platform in which he judges on has 3 steps that lead, which is the 3 levels of the master mason, and all of this, the arch, the arch degree, the goddess Nu, you see, and then you can see the apron, you can see the brothers with the aprons. And matter of fact, you can go to the Narmer's palette. If you want to look it up, I'm not showing much today because I can rock the house. Then that show you, that you got the knowledge. You can go to the Narmer's palette, and you can also go to the Scorpion Mace Head. You can go to the Scorpion Mace Head. You can go to the Narmer palette. You see Narmer with the apron on. You can also see the plumb line. You see him also with the it's not a shovel, but it's a Masonic parade. This is the first evidence of a Masonic parade. When they get ready to build any building, they'll have this ceremony where they'll come out and they'll take the shovels and they'll dig down, and they'll get a spade of dirt and they'll throw it. That's a ceremony. So you will see on the Narmer's palette and the Scorpion palette where they're having a Masonic parade on those two artifacts. You see, but you'll see the apron. Now, if you go into okay, then that's what's up. If you go to the Temple of Abydos, and you will see Seti, Min Ma'at, my spiritual father, you'll see him on there with the master, the Grand Master apron. Rocking that Grand Master apron, man, showing off, you feel me? The most powerful ever, the most powerful Mason on the planet, the Grand Master. We talking about brothers that's actually dealing with the stone. Now you got speculative Mason, and that's those who take symbols of the operative Mason. The operative Masons are actually cutting stone. Okay, speculative Masons use instruments of the operative Mason and use it philosophically. So you got today, there ain't nothing, a lot of them they might have some, I'm not going to say none of them have, knowledge in masonry. Some of them may have knowledge in masonry, but for the most part, it's speculative masonry. Okay, it's speculative. So you're speculating. That means you're guessing. When you look up speculation, it means to guess. Okay, so understand that all of these symbols that they use in masonry today come out of the Nile Valley because they still have these instruments in museums all over Egypt and all over the world where they stole up out of Egypt. Now, before we get out of here, we're going to prove to you because we know the date for the first Grand Lodge of Western Masonry, which is in the city of London, not London, but the city of London, was 1717. We already have given you the date of the pyramid of Saqqara, 2670, 2650. I rounded it off, 2700 BC. Then you got the pyramid of Meidum. You can look that up, 2610 BC. The bent pyramid. Now, if you got to understand, when you start calling out names, when you start dealing with masonry, you got to deal with Imhotep. You have to deal with Zolger because that is his pyramid. He's the Grand Master. Zolger, then you have the bent pyramid, the red pyramid of Seneferu. Now you got to, if you don't know about, if you's a Mason, and ask any nigga out there that's a Mason, if you ask him who is Seneferu and he can't give you no answer, that nigga ain't no Mason. That nigga playing house. Period. If he can't tell you who Seneferu is, that nigga ain't no Mason. That nigga playing house. Okay, he can go in there and tell you about all them felonious, fictitious characters, but he can't give you. Seneferu built the world's first true pyramid. He was the father of Khufu, the grandfather of Khafra, and the great grandfather of Menkaure, which are the three pyramids at Giza. And so he built the world's first true pyramid in 2595 BCE. So this is masonry. You see, and these brothers, these is African kings, brothers, us, our lineage, already in the fraternal order of the Nile Valley. We got to wake up. We got to wake up. Khafra built his pyramid 2570 BCE, and Menkaure, who I named my son after, you see, built in 2510 BCE. So this is evidence beyond evidence, and anybody out there is because they love the Neanderthal and they love the mythologies. But when it comes to the reality, and I myself and my uncle and Dr. Ben, you know, our brothers of the craft, brothers of the Nile Valley. I've been doing my work since day one. You see, when I was raised up, I said I give my life to teach my people. That's exactly what I said, and I've been doing it ever since. Have not laid off of it, not one day since that. And before that, shit, I was already doing work 16 years before I got raised. But anyway, make sure y'all rewind this information. And we'll touch on it in the upcoming days. We'll touch on it on another level. So y'all stay. And before we get up off of here, family, get on over there to Patreon because the general about to start pulling out some fire for all of y'all. Of course, we updating. We talking about the Order of Melchizedek. That's right, the Canaanite Egyptian Mystery School. You got to be in the house for that. Don't you dare miss that. Also, the ancient Kemetic science of solar melanin divinity. I want you in the house, family. It's gonna be all powerful. Click the link, and I'll be, and it's a link too. You understand what I'm saying? Get on in there, and I'll be right black power. You say my lodge does lectures on ancient Kemet. That's good, good brother. That's good. That's what I want to hear. That's y'all tapped in. That's wonderful. Yeah, much respect for you, King. See y'all in a minute.